This is the wiki page that we have for how to download and build CoprHD. So most probably I'll be just going through the steps given in this wiki and just executing it. So there's not much of a change from this. Whatever we have described here, we ran into some issues when we tried it. So we have fixed those. We have updated the wiki, and currently whatever we have changed here will work as is. So these are the several points that you need to keep in mind when you need to download and build CoprHD. So all this is available on the net. It's accessible to you, so you need not take down these points. So installing the operating system, installing the additional RPMs, then very importantly the ng-inx server, and then you check out the code and you build CoprHD. So I'll start with the first process. One is to have you need to have your own IP or the VM. So once you have that, this is the vSphere client.
Everyone knows what this interface is. Have you used it before? Have you seen it before?
What is vSphere client?
No? Yes?
And how many of in the college you have a Hyper-V, and how many of you have a VMware environment? VMware registration. What about Hyper-V? So okay, but all the colleges, you guys have an access to virtual machines, no?
We have it, but it's not accessible to us.
Not given.
If it is given to the department, it is accessible. It's not to the.
Yeah, basically because whatever Prabhu is going to talk about it, you need a VM. Okay, basically you need to work with your colleges to get a VM to deploy it. Because if you want to try this thing, you need a virtual machine. So it can work on two kind of environment. One is Microsoft, okay, hypervisor. The other one is VMware. So because we have reached out to before launching this initiative, we have reached out to professor. They have confirmed that they do have this infrastructure. So you need to work in the back.
Yes, but we have it.
Huh.
Only not accessible. They don't. Give the
It's not accessible outside, but in the college it's accessible.
Yes, I think.
Okay, that's fine. But we are given a specification like 1 to I think 2 vCPU, 4.
Okay, so we begin by deploying a new virtual machine. So I normally choose the custom configuration so that I can provide more details. Provide a way that you can easily identify this. So this is something if you have access to the VMs in the afternoon session, we have some time where you can try this out and we can see if you face any blockers or any issues. So these are normal general settings. There is nothing specific here. What I am just choosing is the highest configuration that we can have. And this is an important one where you need to choose the operating system. We choose SUSE Linux, probably 64-bit, or you can just choose something here in general, because we will be loading the ISO image later on. So at this time you just need to specify, make sure that it's a 64-bit. So as the wiki page suggests, minimum of 6 GB RAM and 60 GB of virtual disk. So in this configuration page I am specifying 6 GB RAM. You need to choose the specific adapter for the network in which the VM is hosted. 64-bit, then you need to mention 6 GB RAM, 60 GB hard drive. Then once you have this, you can just review it and finish this task. And you can view the status below. It normally comes. Once that is ready, we can actually go ahead and switch it on, power on the VM. So you can view the status below the last line, the recent tasks, that shows whether it's powering on. It's 15%. We normally wait till it's full, and then we can host the ISO image. So this wiki page talks about this SUSE Linux 13.2 is the recommended version. So I've already downloaded this onto my laptop, and if you try to do it from your laptop to a VM which is on a different network, just to upload this ISO, it takes time. So in the interest of time, I have already uploaded it into a data store where we can quickly access, and the installation also will be done pretty quickly. So the VM is ready. So now I will just connect it to the ISO image of the SUSE Linux OS, which I have already downloaded. And once that is done, we will start with the installation of the SUSE Linux.
So recommendation is means for each college, if they can download this ISO image and put it into their data store.
Everybody can access it.
If you don't understand, ask the question first.
So now that we have uploaded the image, we go on to the installation. In the main details, you will need to provide as part of the installation will be the IP that should be used and the gateway, and those are the main things. You should already have it in advance: the DNS servers, the gateway, and the IP address. If you have this information handy, then you can just enter it, and this machine will be recognized on the network.
So all this information your
College
lab administrator will be having. You take it from that. Maybe you can also have your own wiki where you can get this information.
So did any of you try these steps already? No?
Some other VMware we have tried.
Okay. So this is the main network settings page. So the network settings, I'll be providing a static IP which I have already been allocated by the lab administrator. And these are the domain server configurations which you need to mandatorily specify.
Yeah, all your VMs should be DNS, means it should be resolved by the host name. Host name is important. So DNS has to be configured, and each VM should have a host name for that.
And we mentioned the gateway. So once we do this, almost we are done with the major steps during the
Prabhu, I think let's take a pause. Guys, if there are any questions so far, please ask. Whatever steps which he has walked you through, please feel free to ask, even if it is a dumb question, no problem.
There's nothing like a dumb question.
Otherwise, we will ask questions.
Otherwise, we'll ask questions. And don't worry, I mean, we'll go through with the process in the afternoon, sometime when each colleges will be with us. I think we're going to split the teams. But if you have any questions, please speak up.
If we have enough RAM, can we do it on our own laptop?
Own lap.
It's possible, but we don't recommend you to try that because the steps which we have mentioned in Wiki doesn't capture that how to run it in a laptop.
Where do we install it? Not our own laptop. Is it in a lab?
You have to have your virtual lab, means like we have talked about either a VMware lab with virtualization or the Microsoft lab with the virtualization there. So once you have that, you will be able to have a VM allocated to you by some lab administrator. You do it on that.
I think in
that
colleges you must be having the lab environment, right? Where
Yeah,
you guys are
it's-
playing around. Then I'm assuming that you must be having the VMware infrastructure also.
Okay.
Right, so getting a single IP, I'm not sure how this is going to be. You certainly need to take it up with your professors. But in the afternoon lab, what we already have few IPs allocated, which we will help you and will provide it to you for doing all these installation and stuff like that. But when you're going to go back and play around with it, you certainly need certain IP addresses allocated.
For your laptops, you will also be
Yeah.
setting up your dev environment, right?
Yes.
Like the Eclipse and using that for code and all. So that also will take memory. The laptop can become pretty loaded very soon.
Which college are you from? SRM. You can work out with your lab team to find out why. You have a constraint to do that, and we just want to understand.
No, it's not.
Got your point. You first follow this step, then you'll work with that.
So Manoj, when they are at home, how they will be able to access when they are at home? Because most of the time in the week, if they want to work, they may not be in college for a longer time.
I don't know means how your lab environment looks like. Today when you go out of your college, are you able to access your labs? No. Okay. So see, maybe we can take it in the evening. There is a way, because we all work from the home, and there is a technology available where you can do a VPN to the lab and see what can be done at that time. Let's work it out.
We'll work on offline. It's a good point, and we'll get back to you.
Yeah.
So one project that we want is enabling bare metal install.
Yes.
Okay.
It's one was the
Once one of you pick up that project, then others can all install directly on the
laptop
or any operating system.
So we have done some work. It's not like we have not done it.
They
but
put
it's not
VMware,
poor. And that is
simulate
what
on
we
VMware.
have Malari was
Yeah.
mentioning. Can take it up.
Any other questions? So still have time until this finishes.
So what is ISO? What is ISO? Image file. Not image file. ISO is a bootable disk. Bootable disk. And that's why when you boot your system, it boots from some boot sector. And ISO image is written as a bootable disk. In this case, we don't have a disk. So what we do, we create a ISO image and mount it as a disk. What he has done, he has mounted, when we selected this, the disk was actually get mounted, and that's how it start reading it from there.
I think somebody from SRM had emailed us a couple of times last week about not being able to finish the installation. Okay, somebody called Avantika had mailed a couple of times. I don't know. No?
From Mumbai.
Oh, okay. That's a different college, probably. You tried these steps? Okay. Anything on the lines of what we are doing, or was it something?
I didn't have software
Okay.
I think you guys can still try the Ruby or try like
Installation is easy. Issues at cost, like how to
you can
access
keep on deploying it in this
one particular IP address. One particular IP address is assigned. That lab is the address. You have access to people who have access.
But I think the price point is too much sufficient.
Now these people will really have a trouble having the cost of hosting.
Having the host name.
That's why we need to go administrative people like that.
Correct. That's true. SUSE Linux installation.
Good question, sir.
So one thing that I'll be doing initially is to turn off the firewall. I want to open the SSH port. So there are two ways to do this. All the ports are normally blocked by default when you install SUSE Linux. So you can open up the ports, or in the interest of time, I'm just going to turn the firewall off. So if you go to this, there is something called allowed services. So here you can choose SSH or whatever you want to allow, only then the ports will be open. So definitely for Copperhead installation, you will need SSH is required so that you can work much faster rather than just logging into this. Other than that, you will also need to open the HTTPS port. That is not listed right now. Once we do the installations, that will also come up. But every time the problem that I faced is every time you reboot it, it again goes, it again gets blocked. So each time you reboot it, I had to open the ports. So just to avoid all that, I will.
Prabhu,
Yeah.
can you log in through the putty now?
Yeah. So for that only I'm.
They will not have access to this.
Correct. That's why I'm switching off the firewall. Next. Finish.
One more thing you can do, once you have created one VM for per student, you can clone all these things in one shot. So these steps, once he has created this VM, after it, cloning will be the better option. Otherwise, everybody has to do the same steps again and again. And this environment may not be visible.
Just opening up SSH port 10.240 and also the services. So we are able to ping the box. So all the network settings have been taken up accurately. So we will be able to put it onto the box and move on with our actual installation.
So Putty is one application where you can connect to your VM remotely.
Is that font okay? It's too small.
Change background color.
I'll just increase. No, won't help.
I think they changed the background to a little bit white over black.
No, that's not taking it. Is this better? Oh no.
Let's try it again.
Setting. 50, yeah. You can do it from here, no. Okay, so you will need to log in as the root or the super user. So please remember the password that you give when you install SUSE Linux. Whatever password you give for the root user, you will need to use that. So we will start by configuring the additional RPM repositories. So basically I am going to be copying and pasting everything as is from the wiki. And once we configure these, then we can run the installation.
Basically, all the packages which we downloads are available into some repos. But he is adding those repos so that when you do a zipper is a package installer in SUSE, he will automatically pull the dependencies from there.
There are about 7 of them.
Do a ILS first.
I know, did it and then forgot. Installation. You're just providing the link there. So when we do this is when it downloads.
He has added all those repositories. One which analysis. These are the repositories.
Why are we using SUSE here? Why not like normal Linux?
Normal Linux. Why only SUSE? So currently
SUSE has a good enterprise support, and we can choose another one, but when you are building the appliance, basically you do harden the OS. We, as EMC, when it started, we have a hardened appliance for SUSE, and we found it quite enterprise ready Linux. That's why we have chosen.
I tried OpenStack and Ubuntu.
Yes,
Ubuntu.
Ubuntu is another, yeah, but we found that our SUSE is having a lot of latest package available in that.
Better to follow the people.
Yeah.
I think in the wiki it's also mentioned if you want
Yeah, SUSE.
to use others and you want to help us, we can work with that kind of. That becomes.
What is putting software? What does
It enables you to remotely log into the box. So this is a secure shell server. So using the SSH port, I am able to log into the SUSE Linux box. So it gives you a command line where you can run these commands. Otherwise,
We can do these steps inside SUSE itself.
it is slower. This is faster.
No, you
So-
can't do it.
Copy it.
Linux is a headless installer. You have done a headless installation. Headless installation is there is no terminal around that.
There is a terminal there, but
The terminal will not
Yeah.
be visible to these guys.
correct.
So you have to remotely log into that system. So when you are working on any software, I don't know what is your environment. So there will be some server sitting somewhere else, but you will be working remotely from your classroom or somewhere. How you log in, how you access that server, either through some protocol. So we use the SSH protocol, and PuTTY is application with the SSH protocol, which give a consoling system.
So right now here also, if you want to do it,
Yeah.
this if you have this, you can. Otherwise,
This is also a console.
Yeah.
The same console will be visible over there.
correct. So the packages are downloaded. So we are now in the